welcome to everyone that wasn't here last time. These are a series of cooking demonstrations we've been asked to do by East Devon District Council, all about plant-based food and some ideas for lunches and dinners, and we'll be doing some sweet things as well over the next course of the next few weeks that you can easily make at home. I don't know if everyone's seen the recipe or recipes that we're going to be doing or not yet, but in case not, I will start off by saying we're going to be doing a lentil, pea and mint salad, and then I'm going to be making beetroot hummus as well. And I'm sure if you haven't seen the recipes, Helen or someone will be sending them around at some point. So I'm going to start off with my lentil, pea and mint salad. And I'm going to start off by cooking my peas. I've just got sort of standard frozen peas here, and heat up my water. I have heated up already, so hopefully it won't take too long to come to the boil. And then I'm going to just cook those for a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's boiling already. Always put your lid on when you're boiling water, it makes it much quicker. So they really only need, I'm going to put a good handful in there. I think the recipe probably says something like about 100 grams, 200 grams, and this is for 4. This salad is a really good accompaniment to things, but although you can have it on its own as well, lentils have really, really good levels of protein in them. So if you're cutting down on your meat a little bit, then they're a really good source of protein to include in your diet. So it looks as if everybody's got the recipe, Hannah. So hopefully we'll be following it together. Follow on. Hopefully I won't deviate too much and make too many mistakes. So bring those to the boil. And you can also use, another really nice thing to use is in this kind of recipe is broad beans. Now, broad beans obviously come into season around about June or July time, but you can buy them frozen in most supermarkets, and they're really, really good sort of staple to have in your freezer, as are obviously the humble frozen pea. Things like green beans as well are another really good thing to have in your freezer, and they're frozen really, really quickly. After they're picked, they're frozen really quickly, so they retain a huge amount of their goodness. So they're a really great choice, and also they're usually pretty cheap as well. So let's let those pan that up a bit. I'm used to my induction hob at home, which is super speedy. So while those are going, I'm just going to make a quick salad dressing. Now, I'm not sure if it says in the recipe about making a salad dressing. It's a good way of adding lots of flavour to your lentils. Now, I am going to, if I've got some, yes, add a little bit of whole grain mustard. You don't have to add this, but it does make your dressing a bit thicker, and adds another flavour, which is always good. So I've used about a teaspoon of mustard there, and then the basis for a salad dressing is often 1 part acid to 3 parts oil. That's your basic sort of recipe to follow. The mustard is just an additional extra, and you can add a little bit of honey as well if you like something sweet. So for my acid, I'm using lemon juice because it goes really well with the lentils, but you could use vinegar, white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar, or just normal vinegar if you've got it. So I'm going to put a really good squeeze of lemon juice in there, and then I'm just going to mix that together with my mustard. I think the good thing about these recipes is that these are truly project food recipes, and these ones today have been sort of kind of created and adapted by staff over the last couple of years that we've sort of used and just adjust a little bit and all put our own take on it, don't we? We do indeed. Yeah, this is a staple. We often make this one. Yeah, absolutely. So I've got my mustard and my lemon juice whisked in there. And this is a whole grain mustard because that's what I have in the cupboard. You don't have to use a whole grain mustard. You could just use some English mustard, or you could use just normal sort of standard French mustard as well. Or as I said, just leave it out altogether. So those peas are ready. I'm just going to go and drain those over here. So Jamie's just mentioned about having it. It was a good tip for the 1 part to 3 parts of the salad dressing. So yes, thank you for that, Hannah. It's something that I didn't know actually. So I've learned
a little while ago from Hannah, actually, but that was a tip to follow. So
yeah, and the great thing is about these dressings, I'm only making a really little amount here because I'm just doing it for this particular thing that I'm going to show you. But you can make a really good batch. I make a really big batch at home, stick it in a jam jar, and it will keep for probably a good couple of weeks. You can even just outside your fridge in the cooler weather. And then it's ready to go. So you don't really have to make this every time you're making a salad. So I am going to just add my olive oil now. And it's just best to add a little bit at a time so you can really mix it in well. And it does what chefs would say, emulsify, which is to bring everything together, and it will just thicken a little bit. You can flavour your salad dressings with garlic, with chilli, chopped herbs, anything you like really. So that's probably about my 3 pots of oil in there. Maybe a little bit more, and I'll just show you where we've got to. So it's just sort of thickened nicely. Another good tip, if you don't want to get your whisk out, is you can just stick everything in a jam jar, shake it really well, and that will have the same effect.
I think it's worth mentioning with the olive oil, if you do keep it in the fridge, it can go a little bit hard, can't it? But don't let that put you off. If you bring it back to room temperature, it will go back to as a more recognisable olive oil. So don't think that it's gone off. It will be fine.
Absolutely. So, well, cooked my peas, they're literally just cook them as you normally would. If you were going to keep this salad in the fridge, this salad will keep in your fridge really well for about 4 or 5 days. Covered. What I often do, you can do, is refresh your peas. Now, all that means with green vegetables is putting them into really cold water for a little bit, or putting them under a running tap. I mean, if you're being very professional, you could use iced water, and that will just help them retain their green colour. Because you will find that if once you've kept those in the fridge for a few days, then that they do seem to go a bit of a khaki green. Now, they still taste really good, and there won't be anything wrong with them. You can still eat them, but if you want them to retain their green freshness, just do refresh them under water. But I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to, we're going to do that, finish off today. So, got my salad dressing here. I'm going to drain my lentils. I'm going to talk about lentils a little bit more in a minute. And I'm just going to whiz those over here and give them a little rinse. If I was probably putting them in a, thank you, Carrie's going to do that for me. If I was putting them into a casserole or a stew or something, I probably wouldn't bother rinsing them. But if we're using them in a salad, just rinsing off that starchiness is quite a nice thing to do. Otherwise, we tend to have a bit of a sort of starchy salad dressing, which isn't the nicest thing. Lovely, thank you. So I'll talk a little bit about the lentils that I've used. I've used green lentils here. Now they are really good because they hold their shape. I've used a tin of lentils. Just like they're standard, you can get from the supermarket. They're really nice and cheap, really easily available, which is quite key. This is what they look like when they're dried. Can you see that, Kerry? Yeah. And they're just, you can cook your own if they're dried, but for a salad, for convenience, a tin is a really, really useful thing to have in your cupboard. Cooking them is just, I think I put the cooking instructions, yes I have, on the bottom of the recipe sheet, so do give it a go. And obviously it is a cheaper way to do it, but for convenience, I would say the tins are a fantastic thing. The reason that we've used the green lentils is because they hold their shape really well in a salad. This is the other kind people might have seen, they're red lentils. They're fantastic in soups, things like shepherd's pies, in bolognese, because they just go to mush. They don't really hold their shape. So in a salad, they're not really, really good. Another one is these ones. They look quite similar to the green lentils, but they're called puy lentils. They're a French lentil. They can be really expensive and also quite hard to get hold of, but if you can get them, they are really nice in a salad. So I've got my lentils here, my tin of lentils. Drain them really quite well because you don't want wateriness in the salad. So that's good. Just pop them in there. That. And I'm going to leave my peas for a second, and I'm going to do my spring onions. So just got a small bunch of spring onions here, and I'm just going to peel off outside layer. Haven't got spring onions, or you don't particularly like them. Red onion would be a good substitute, or even some very finely sliced white onion, but it can be quite strong, so just watch out, depends how oniony you like it. So I would say that you do need to have some sort of onion based something in there. It does add a really good amount of flavour. Radishes would be another nice thing to add in, some sliced radishes. Chopped clove of garlic, if you like things garlicky. Garlic's really lovely to add to a French dressing as well.
You perhaps put wild garlic in. It's wild garlic season.
Oh, it is
coming up, isn't it? That's really lovely in salads.
Yeah, wild garlic is really, really lovely in salads. I would say wild garlic would be delicious in this. So just do one more of those. And then we'll be ready to go. You slice quite finely so that you don't get a big chunk of onion in there.
So when storing this one, is it just sealed tub in the fridge for a few days?
Yeah, sealed tub, bit of Tupperware or something, or a bowl with a lid or cling film or something like that. Yeah. Jamie has asked if it's always recommended to take out the outer layer of the spring onion. She's just recently started using them in cooking. Yeah, I would say if you look at this, I don't know if I can hold one up and show you, that this outer layer here is quite it's a bit like a leek when you buy an untrimmed leek, and it's quite tough and it can be quite bitter. And it's not the nicest part. I would say just literally just peel, if you cut it off at the root and then you peel from just that top layer like that, that's the perfect amount. And then I usually just cut off the top bits. These top bits here can be really bitter as well. If you slice them really finely, if you're cooking with them, if you're going to cook them, so not use them raw, absolutely use right up to the end. But in a salad, the raw bits can be a bit too bitter. So my spring onions are in there. And I've got a large bunch here of fresh mint. Now, mint is really lovely in this salad, but you could use lots of different herbs. You could use parsley, if you like parsley, coriander, chives. Soft herbs are really good in it. You can grow, mint is one of those plants actually that most people you can grow in a pot. It's quite hard to kill off. I am very, very ungreen fingered, and even I haven't managed to kill off my mint yet.
You need to be a bit careful in the garden, don't you? If you plant it into the ground, it does take over.
Yes, it does. In a pot is quite a good way to do it, actually. But yes, it's worth growing yourself, and the smell of fresh mint is just lovely. And if you do buy a bunch, you've got leftovers, fresh mint tea is lovely, and it really does go well with all sorts of summer salads and puddings as well. So I'm just going to chop that as finely or as roughly as you like. And for me, the more the better, but you can be quite flexible according to. You can really add lots of different herbs. That's okay. So mint in there. And my cheese.
Catherine's just given us a tip that she stores her fresh herbs in a jar of water.
Oh, okay.
Just popping the ends in the water and it stays fresh for ages.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
Okay. You can also, if you chop them up really finely and freeze them into ice cube trays as well, and they're great to pop straight into cooking. So if you have bought a lot, you don't think that you're going to use it, just freezing them into little cubes.
Yeah, and they do really make a good addition to so many salads, herbs. And it also, by adding sort of herbs and spices and things like that, you really do, you sort of remove the need for adding quite so much salt and things, which is obviously, from a dietary point of view, is always a good thing. So there's my pea and mint salad. I'll put it in a pretty bowl. With dressing. There we go. Pea and mint salad there. So I'll just pop that over there. And thank you, Carrie. And I am going to make next a beetroot hummus. Now, hummus is one of those things that if you buy it from the supermarket, I mean, actually, it's great, the stuff from the supermarket, but by making your own, you can make lots of different kinds of flavours, and you can also leave out things that you don't like and put in things that you do. So today I'm going to make a beetroot hummus, and this recipe is courtesy of Kerry, who is behind the camera today. And yeah, it's a really, really lovely one. Now, the reason Kerry does a beetroot hummus is partly because she doesn't like tahini. I don't know if you can see that there. I'm afraid my tahini did leak a little bit on the way in. But tahini is an ingredient. If you buy hummus from a supermarket, that 90% of hummuses will contain, it's a sesame paste. It can be quite hard to get hold of, and it also can be quite expensive. So it's quite a good thing to know about, that you can make a hummus without it, and in case you can't get hold of it, or you're just thinking that you know that you're going to find it a bit too much to pay. So yeah, I'm not going to use the hummus and the tahini today, but I am going to use chickpeas, beetroot, and some garlic and olive oil, and that's pretty much it. And then all you need to do really is to whiz it together. There are two ways of doing a beetroot. I've got some ready cooked beetroot here, which you can just buy any supermarket, and it's ready to go, it's cooked. Do choose the one in natural juice. Don't choose the one that's been pickled, or your hummus will be very, very vinegary. So yes, make sure you choose the one in natural juice and not in not in vinegar. Or you can cook your own beetroot. Now it does take a long time to cook in the oven. So I did start cooking it earlier. I've just cooked one here in small chunks. And it's actually a really lovely way to do, because you can get lots of flavour in, and you'll see there, I don't know if you can see, but I've cooked it with a few garlic cloves. And so you'll get that really nice garlicky flavour going into your hummus, which is really lovely. So I've got ready cooked beetroot there. What you need to do, you buy them whole, you can just scrub them and then roast them in the oven. Now, they do take a long time to roast. So if you're thinking about, I don't really want to put my oven on, the best thing to do is try and cook it when you are cooking something else in the oven anyway. And that way you're not wasting the energy. Yeah, it does make a nice flavour.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Helen's asked, would they cook in a slow cooker?
Do you know, Helen? I have no idea. I think they would. Kerry might know. She's a slow cooker aficionado.
They would soften really nicely, but you wouldn't get the same caramelization as you would when you roast them. So yes, you would definitely soften, but it would liken to a steamed beetroot, I would imagine, rather than roasted. And you do get a slightly different flavour if you roast. So like Hannah said, if you're putting your oven on something else, I did some yesterday, my oven was going on, so I stuck a tray of beetroot into the bottom just to do while I was cooking something else. So thank you, Helen.
Yes, I would say probably, yeah, same as Kerry. You wouldn't get that caramelization of flavour, but you would get the softness. So what you do want to make sure is, if you do cook your own beetroot, that it is really nice and soft, otherwise it isn't going to blend together very well. The nice thing, if you've roasted it, is you can also squeeze out those garlic cloves that you've roasted it with, and just add them to your hummus, and that makes for a really good flavour. So I'm going to put this in here, and also I'm going to use one of these ones as well. I haven't got quite enough in there. A couple of these ones. Watch your hands. It is obviously, as with beetroot, always with beetroot, is a rather messy business. You do get a really good, if you cook your beetroot, roast your beetroot like this, it actually just on its own, with a few chunks of roasted beetroot, it does make a really nice addition to salads, lunch boxes and things like that. So I'm just going to chop it in roughly into chunks here. Doesn't have to be anything neat because we're going to blend it together anyway. And pop it in there like that. Like my beetroot hands.
If anybody has any tips to stop your hands staining red from beetroot, we would be very grateful.
We would indeed. Right, where is my, all right, I'm going to, Kerry, could I have another bowl? Is there another bowl? Oh, actually, I could drain it into here. So I'm going to drain my chickpeas. A can of chickpeas, really, really good. I think we talked about those a bit last session, but just a fantastic thing for your store cupboard. Chickpeas, like lentils, are a really, really good source of protein. So yeah, they're a fantastic thing to have. So I've just drained my chickpeas into there.
I've just been given a fantastic the recipe for beetroot, an orange beetroot and ginger smoothie.
Oh wow, that sounds very good.
Well, a beetroot, a large peeled orange, bit of ginger and handful of ice, whiz it up. Brilliant. Thank you, Catherine. That sounds lovely.
It does. And actually you can make a really good beetroot and orange salad as well. It's really, really lovely in the summer with some mint. It's really nice. So I've got my chickpeas in there, and I've just used 1 clove of garlic from the roasting tray. So I'm going to just add another clove of garlic here, which is raw. So you don't get that sweetness, but if you just squash it like that with the flat of the knife on your hand, then it peels really easily. And then I just usually do roughly chop before I put in. But again, you don't need to be neat about it because it's all going to be whizzed up in the dish. I'm going to add some olive oil. So I've got 3 tablespoons. 2, 3, and then I'm going to stir it together, and then I'm afraid there will be rather a noise while I blend it. So one thing I have done, which I didn't go into, is I've saved the chickpea water, which we talked about again at the last session, I think, which is called aquafaba. Yeah, and it's quite good substitute for the tahini, because you haven't got the tahini, which will provide some liquid in there. Using some of this water instead will make your hummus a bit looser. You could also use some yogurt as well.
Would other oils be okay to use?
Yes, absolutely. You could use something like a rapeseed oil or vegetable oil. I would say you want something like this with a kind of Mediterranean-y dish, which a hummus is, well, Middle Eastern. It does lend itself to an olive oil. We've just got a standard one here, not a, isn't a particularly expensive one. It is nice with the olive oil, but absolutely, if you've only got vegetable oil or rapeseed oil or something like that, that's absolutely fine. So there will be a little bit of noise now while I just blend. I don't know if people have these at home, a stick blender, but they are a really fantastic addition to your kitchen. They're brilliant for making smoothies, whizzing up soups, making things like this. They really, really are good. So
if anybody wants to use the chat for questions while we're making a noise, then feel free.
I'm going to add a little bit of my water just to loosen it up. It's quite good if you use one of these. I didn't think mine would fit in there, but if you use one of these, it's much quicker than doing it in a bowl. A bit more water.
It does take a little while to whiz together. We have got one we made earlier.
Oh, we have. Yeah, I can show you. I tell you what, I'll show you that one instead. Otherwise, we could be here for a little while. It's coming together now, though.
Somebody said, what can be used instead of beetroot?
Well, you can use red pepper. Red pepper hummus is a really popular one. So, you know, you can buy ready jarred pepper, ready cooked, ready peeled, which is quite a useful store cupboard thing, actually. You can add some of that to it. The standard hummus that you buy is just literally chickpeas, tahini, often lemon juice, and garlic and olive oil. Anything else, Kerry?
Roasted carrots would be nice.
Roasted
Carrot hummus would be
Yeah.
quite nice.
So while I think I will, that will keep going for ages. I'll and I don't want to bore you all with that. So I will show you one that we have made here earlier, which is just, so this is what it's ended up looking like. Kerry's has got, I think Kerry made this one, and it's got a lot of beetroot in. So you can see there, really, it just looks like pureed up beetroot. My one there's got a bit more chickpeas in, so it looks a little bit paler. But really, it's according, you know, to whatever your personal tastes are, I would say. And so don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like mine or Kerry's. It's yeah, it's totally fine. So I'm just going to chop a little bit of mint on the top of that. That knife there. Make it.
I think that's the nice thing about making your own is you can adjust it. So if you think that you don't like something when you shop bought it, have a go at making your own, and you can make those adjustments. Like Hannah mentioned, I don't like tahini at all, so I don't tend to eat shop bought hummus at all. So yes, it's a good way of adjusting it to your own tastes.
It is indeed. And also, if anyone has school-age children, actually tahini is something at school that you're not meant to take in because it's got sesames in. So actually making your own at home is a really great thing to do. So I shall just show you my two dishes there, beetroot hummus and lentil, pea and mint salad. And yeah, that would make a lovely addition to any lunchbox.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I hope everybody enjoyed that. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to email either myself or Hannah. If anybody needs a copy of the recipe that hasn't managed to pick up from their invite, then please let us know. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.